Yes?
Yep.
And we're right here in the legendary FC Will studio. You've been here before or not?
It's actually the first time I've been here.
But you know a bit of actually Snoop Dogg was here just a few days ago. And this is one of the studios where actually Red One worked with Lady Gaga. I think Alejandro was recorded in the vocal booth right there.
Sick.
So yeah. So regarding studios, this is like you have your own setup, but you haven't been to big studios like this a lot yet, or have you?
I've worked in a big studio before, but I didn't use any of the equipment there except the monitors. And I don't know. My favorite place to work is just at my own studio place, which is a very basic setup, but it works for me.
Yeah, we'll talk about your studio setup, which I think is pretty minimalistic. Later on. So we're going to look back at the year. It's been a year of highlights for Martin Garrix. We're going to talk about that in a moment. One of the big highlights, congratulations. You've entered the UK top 40 at number 1, which is incredible.
Thank you. It's really crazy. It was really an exciting race between me and Lily Allen because at the moment it looked like she was going to win and then that I was going to get the number 1 spot. But in the end we got the number 1 spot and I can't believe it.
So you had probably a bunch of I have to pinch myself moments in the past year. But how big is it for you to enter the UK chart? Because it's really a game changer, right?
It's crazy, and especially with the track like Animals. I made the track as a club record to get played in the clubs and at the festivals, and then suddenly it gets picked up by big radio stations. We have a rotation at BBC Radio 1, and suddenly we started charting worldwide in the charts, and now number 1 UK is crazy.
Because a lot of times I hear fantastic dance records, which from the clubs and the dance floor, and they're about to cross over to the UK chart. Then they start adding vocals, which is not a lot of times a good thing. So who decided to keep it instrumental?
Me and the team together.
Okay, cool.
We actually had some top lines for it, but it didn't work. It kind of I only want to have a vocal on a track if it lifts the track to a next level, and not like, okay, we need a vocal for the track, so we're gonna add a vocal to the track, because then in almost all the times the vocal will get away the power or the energy or the feeling. And I can give you enough examples where I'm like, okay, the instrumental is stronger for me, but they just added a top line because they were thinking that they can play it on radio after. But I don't think it works.
Now. We have a bunch of questions from your fans. I think like 300-400, something like that. We're going to pick the best of them.
Okay.
I'm going to do that later, but we're talking about Animals. Could you please, like a little bit, take us through the process of making Animals? I know you posted like a feature film, 1.5 hour feature film almost online of how you did the track. But could you more or less, explain how the whole thing came about?
Yeah, of course. I already made the video on YouTube because when Animals just came out, there were like people, he doesn't produce his own stuff, and I was thinking, don't say bullshit like that. So we wanted to make a proof that I actually produce my own stuff.
That's a thing. Actually, they're quite a bit young producers who are, Maddie on, like quite a bit young producers who are really good. I have to tell you, the first time I heard Animals, I was like, no, this is done by a guy with 10, 15 years experience. But on the other hand, you've been working on the computer and producing for how long now?
6 years.
6 years. So that there's this Japanese theory that you have to spend like 10,000 hours on something to become an expert.
I think I spent what is it? I think I spent 40 hours on a track and I made 200 tracks so far.
So
I don't know if I'm expert yet.
Okay. Hey, but please, if you could, guide us through that.
The first version from Animals is actually made a very long time ago.
So you must have like a big treasure trove of samples. How do you keep track of all? It must be like a huge collection already.
No, I have a lot of samples, but the samples I use the most, I keep it in a special pack. So I have it's called Martin Garrix samples, and it's like white noises, some easy things which I can use in tracks. Crash, very simple claps, and rides. This ride you hear a lot in my tracks.
Okay, so you have like your favorite setup, like a setup of favorite sounds,
Yeah.
which are readily available.
Yeah, so if I'm actually working on an idea or something,
Yeah.
I can easily like, okay, I need a ride, and then maybe if I want to change the ride later, I'll go and look for another ride. But this works really great and
Okay.
really fast for me.
And do you spend a lot of time anyway, like just building up sounds and putting them aside, or is it first you start working on a song, and then just get the sounds that are already there? Or?
It depends. Sometimes I start a song just with a melody, and then the sound of the melody completely sucks. And I go look for a great sound after. Or sometimes I find a great sound and like, hey, maybe it sounds cool if I do this melody with this sound.
Yeah.
So it's not. Yeah, it depends.
Okay. So now let's talk a bit about your life, the life of Martin Garrix. And I understand you live in what we should call like the suburbs of Amsterdam, Amstelveen.
Yeah, kind of. I live. If I go by foot, I'm in 3 minutes. I'm in Amsterdam, but it's called Amstelveen where I live. It's a very quiet, peaceful area, and in Amsterdam, that's very busy. So if I want to go to the busy area, I'll be there in a few minutes.
And you live with your parents.
Yep.
And any plans to move out?
You know, I'm young, and the average person of my age is also living at their parents. And I'm traveling a lot, so I'm not home that much. So the time when I'm home, I want to spend with my parents, with my friends. So I definitely don't think about moving out of house yet.
No.
I'm considering maybe buy a building somewhere close to my house to build like a really studio like this.
Yeah.
But
I think actually Hard will turn it around, because he built a studio in his old bedroom in his parents' house.
Yeah.
And he moved out, but you're thinking about like staying at your parents' place and then moving the studio out because your parents go crazy from the...
No, they're actually handling it pretty well. But I think
they're not like in the corner of the house when you go in like...
No.
Okay,
they used to though, but
Yeah.
there was a short period that I produced Hardstyle, and I had those really huge car speakers
on the
like,
floor.
they were not happy with it.
Okay, I understand that. So you're from a musical family, I understand?
Yeah.
And so you play instruments?
I played the guitar for 6-7 years. My sister plays violin, she sings, she plays the piano.
Okay, is she older or younger than you?
She's 2 years younger.
2 years.
My mother plays the piano and my dad plays the guitar.
All right, you play piano also a bit, or guitar?
Yeah, I can do some basic notes on a MIDI keyboard, but usually when I produce, I don't use a MIDI keyboard, but I just sign in a note.
Hey, and being in a music family, you actually like you're playing together on birthdays or stuff like that.
No,
Are there any
like,
moments you play together?
Yeah, sometimes my sister is at the piano and she writes her own piano stuff songs, and she writes some pop things, and but maybe it's fun to do something together with her.
Yeah.
Maybe for another artist that I produce a kind of pop track, but not for Martin Garrix.
No.
Because that's what I'm doing right now as well. I'm producing hip hop. I'm producing pop. I can't tell you yet which artists are writing on it, but there are some big tracks pushed to some big artists.
Big American artists,
Yeah,
English
you can
artists.
think about pop, rap.
Okay, cool. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So speaking of which, you have like all the skills to just completely focus on producing, but you also have the skills to be an artist, to be on stage.
Yeah.
You know how to turn on a crowd. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what the decisions in that direction might be.
My decision is always producing is the most important thing for me, because I make music because I like to make music. Because I love it when I see other people reacting to my music, and that's actually what's happening when you're DJing. But that's why I like when I DJ. I play a lot of my own tracks just to see the crowd reactions. I test a lot of new tracks live.
Yeah.
And I think keeping up with a constant flow of tracks is very important. So that's why we block 4 times 3 weeks a year without any shows.
Okay. Yeah.
Without any interviews. So the only thing I need to do is just hang out with friends and lock myself in the studio to create new music, to work out ideas I created on the road. So
what was the age when you were bitten by the musical bug in a way that you felt like, hey, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life?
I never really had a moment I decided that, I think. There was just a moment where I was like, this is what I'm going to do the rest of my life. But in 2004 was the first time I got in touch with electronic music because Chester was playing at the Olympics there.
Yeah, I heard that story. You were in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Actually seeing and hearing Chesto play, and that was like the first time you got in touch with.
One of the first times because I was playing guitar. I played classical Spanish guitar, and I listened to a lot of pop stuff. But pop was then really different than what's pop nowadays.
What songs do you remember from that time? What pop wise?
K3.
K3 is like this Belgian singing trio of like doing little kids.
Little
songs.
kids. No, Chips, were they called? People like that. Maroon 5. Songs like that, which were on the Kids Top 20 or the Hit Zone or things like that. And then Chester was playing at the Olympics, and I heard him playing a lot of trance tracks. And one track which I really liked was Traffic, and from that point I started buying his CDs. I started buying other CDs, buying other compilations by Ben Liebrand.
Okay, that's actually pretty old, Ben Liebrand.
Yeah.
You know, like old mix compilations.
Yeah, very old mix. I think 2005, 2006. And I started saving up some money to buy a DJ set later.
Because when you saw Chesto play, that was your moment into electronic dance music, but also into, hey, I could stand somewhere and DJ. Or did you have any DJ experience before that?
No.
So what is your first, what kind of gigs did you do? It like birthday parties, school parties, things like that, or what?
Yeah, I played at weddings from friends of my parents. No. Dance was actually they just gave me a CD, and I just had to do the background music, you know. And what I was doing over there was not actually DJing, but just placing a system there and making sure there was music on the background, you know. And my first really gig was when I was 14, I think, at the local club in my hometown.
What is it called?
It's called P60.
Okay, I heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it fits like 500 people. But it was really fun, and I think maybe I'm going to give my birthday over there and invite a lot of DJ friends and just invite my friends and throw a great party because I started there.
Hey, and because and how did you build up your DJ experience? Because right now the gigs you do is like you play like an hour, 2 hours, things like that.
Yeah, between that.
Yeah, and so that's like your specialization. But you also sometimes will be able to do like a 5 or 6 hour thing.
I think 5 or 6 hours is kind of hard with me, or for me, because what I try to do during my set is like build up whole thing, and if you're building up for 5 hours, then the first 2 hours are really slow, and there's a certain sound people expect from a Martin Garrix show. So if the first 2 hours from my set, if that's tech house or very warm up, people are like, what's this?
What's going on? Oh, he's not playing as good as I thought he would. Yeah, so
I prefer playing sets from 1.5 hour, so you can really like. It's not too short. You can leave your story, but it's not too long because. Also, what I notice sometimes if I play 2.5 hour sets or 2 hour sets is it's a little bit too long that people like, okay, I already saw it, give us the next DJ. You know, if you're playing in a festival like
Hey, and you're going to the Herman Brood Academy, Herman Brood Academy. Where Herman Brood is like a old Dutch, real famous rock star who's not with us anymore, but the school is there. Actually, I was pretty surprised to hear that you were still going to school like that, because they train you to become like what you already are.
Yeah, that's kind of true, and because of that, the school is also really supportive. If I want to do a tour, they're like, okay, you know what, go on tour. Like in I think in 1 or 2 weeks, I'm going on an Asia tour for 3 weeks, and they're like, you know what, you can go. It's for your career, and then the things which I have to do at school, they give me the most important stuff. Like, hey, can you do this in the plane or something? But
so what do they, what do you learn? Like actually producing? Or?
Yeah, we learn a lot. For example, we get a track and they're like, okay, recreate the bass line or just recreate the whole track and send us the parts, and then we have a teacher who's like a mastermind with producing.
What's his name?
Mark Otten, but he quit it I think 3 months ago, and right now we have Menno de Jong is also a teacher of us.
Okay.
And they're really great producers, and they can teach us a lot. And we learn things about creating pop tracks, creating the arrangement, the structure from pop tracks, how pop tracks are created, how hip hop is created, and I'm in a class with 8 people, and one of them is producing drum and bass, the other one is producing hardstyle, the other one is producing techno. So if I'm out of inspiration, I'll just walk up to one of their booths, because we actually have like small studios next to each other.
Yeah.
And then I can ask for some samples, or I go to the hardstyle one and ask like, hey, how do you create a kick like that, or how do you create that sound?
Okay, so it's more like a creative hotspot in a way than
it's like,
you know, apart from being
that's
an education.
I think that's also the reason why I'm still going to it, because you're in such a creative environment.
Yeah.
Everybody's making music. Everybody is loves what he or she is doing, because we also have some female producers at our school. But we also have like guitarists, we have like bands, we have like rappers. So sometimes we get an assignment for school, so like, hey, create a hip hop track with one of our rappers, and then they link you to one of the rappers, and then you like create a hip hop track.
All right. So if people want to be able to collab with you, then they should just
go
to your school as soon as possible. For how long do you have to stay? Because you skipped like 1, 2, how many years?
I started in the first year. I started a little bit later because a friend of mine, Julian Jordan, was going to the same school till last year, but he decided to go fully for his touring.
Yeah.
And I completely agree with him in his position, because he's doing some crazy shows right now.
Yeah.
And then I was going to the second year, but then that was just before the summer. We released Animals, and in the summer Animals blew up. I did like a lot of shows, and we started talking with school what's possible to work together with Scoop, and also to not block my career in any way. So like, you know what, you skip the second year, you start in the third year, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm in my last year. Right now we're learning crazy stuff about sound engineering, about really synthase, how you create from in-ins to how you create a kick with silent, stuff like that. And it's really interesting, and I think that's also the reason why I'm still going to the school. And sometimes it's kind of hard, because in the weekend I can be in America or in 5 countries, and then on Monday or on Tuesday you're in class again, like listening to a teacher.
Yeah.